Okay, so now is the final submission. So what you're going to want to do is have these sheets ready. The plan should all be at, everything really should be at quarter scale, except for, of course, the details. I guess I'm gonna cover a couple of things. I'm not a big fan of shadows being on plans, so that's kind of what will be according to kind of your instructor, what they want. Maybe sometimes they want them, sometimes they don't. I will just say that if you want to show them that you do want to make sure that the graphic display is a certain way. So I'm just going to show you really quickly kind of the best way to treat shadows. So I think it's under lighting. These are some pretty good settings to have. So shadows turned down to 20. I could say even 15, somewhere between there. Makes them light enough so they don't bother too much. What they can do is they end up getting maybe a little bit muddy. Your drawing's a little muddy if you have them cranked up too high. So somewhere between 15 and 20. And then ambient light and sun should, maybe that's a good setting to have them at. So if you happen to have the shadows on, that's kind of the setting I would have. I don't, maybe the site plan can have it. I would steer away from the first floor, or actually I should have a sheet that has the second floor. So at the moment you'll want to create that. So I'll have to go in and do that. So on top of A1 there should be an A2 and it should have second floor. So the elevations, they actually could have shadows, so if you want to turn those on, that would be fine. So I'm just going in and clicking that. You don't see a lot of difference, and I think that has to do with kind of my sun settings. If you're gonna have them, you probably want to have it kind of come in from a certain direction. The other thing that I'm doing is that I'm gonna have my A1 set to, sorry the scale is wrong, I'm using these for supplements, so you just ignore the scale. I am having everything on shaded, so that I can we can see patterns and whatnot in your drawings. The other thing to note is that you should have dimensions according to what the supplements show. You don't need to add these notes, but I do want to see the dimensions so we can check you for accuracy. So whenever you see a dimension in the supplements, go ahead and create that in your drawings. We will eventually erase that information, but for this submission I want it, and that would be included in your elevations. So you should have that. Oh, sorry, you should have these. I'm not sure if I actually have dimensions on any of these. You have to check your supplements, but that should be it for how you're gonna. And so besides, the only other thing that I think we're tweaking is that the what was your truss view, I do want you to just pull the camera back and create some kind of exterior shot. So I have an aerial shot. You may want to have it kind of on the, you may want to have it kind of in the you know, on down here or something along those lines. It doesn't matter to me. Just make it a reasonable, nice shot that we can kind of see what's going on. And I think that's it. So remember to have an A2. I don't have that apparently in my build out. So please correct that. And I think that's it, except for one last thing. When you do print, of course, I'd select all my sheets. It's okay to be raster processing. When you have shadows, you'd have to have raster. If you want just hard lines that are going to be like put into Illustrator and you're going to select the line, you would need to go vector, and in that case none of the drawings in your set can be shadow or realistic. If you want vector information, you're going to have to select that view and make sure it doesn't have shadows or realistic view on, and you have to just export that separately. But what I'm asking for right now is just raster processing, and we have such a large size of sheet that should still give us a lot of quality, and still be rastered, and that's fine. The last thing I will note is that because the trees are visible in this view, I'm going to go ahead and use the realistic setting for this view. It's the only one that I think that's important. I think the other ones that just have the trees and kind of the normal mode is probably just fine. Okay, I think that's it. All right.